high crime rate and the resulting anxieties, combined with inefficiencies and a lack of trust in the SAPS, have created a ripe environment for private security sector to flourish. The industry has seen over 400% rise in active personnel since 1997. Newzroom Afrika's Sipha Kema joins us now from one of the cities with the highest crime rate in the country. A recent report ranked Gqeberha as the 9th most dangerous city globally. Sipha, troubling news. Indeed, when I saw this a couple of days ago, and that of course being, if I may say so, my hometown, that's where I was born and grew up, and it's been worrying, the trend we've seen there for quite some years now.
Well, absolutely, Vuyo, and seeing this as being your hometown, I'm sure you'd be quite aware of the high crime rate. When we look at the SAPS group in the Eastern Cape, most of those reports coming in on shootings and murder and break-ins would be looking towards Gqeberha. And having seen that Gqeberha is ranked 9th globally as one of the most dangerous cities. Now, this is the reason why some residents or communities, well, in South Africa and in Gqeberha, have opted to rather use private security. And now, of course, this has seen the growth of private security, and we're talking about immense growth here, Vuyo. Since 2014, we're looking at about 50 billion rands increase or growth within this industry now, because people are not just only relying on private security or private personnel just for their homes. Some are using it for their businesses. Some are using it for their own individual guard, and also looking at firearms, because that's also part of the private sector when it comes to security. We've seen an increase in that as well. But to tell us more about these trends and what exactly we're looking at when we're talking about crime trends, especially in the Nelson Mandela Bay, we're going to speak to Ryan Morris, who's the Community Development Manager from Atlas. Atlas, Vuyo, it is a private security company here in the Nelson Mandela Bay, and they've been doing a lot of work on the ground with crime. Now, Ryan, I think let's first start with the stats. What are we looking at when we look at crime and we're comparing the different crimes here in the Nelson Mandela Bay?
Sipha, welcome to you and your team, and mostly welcome to your viewers. Yeah, crime over the past couple of years has developed. I don't think you can really understand unless you start looking into the facts and figures of everything. And if we start off just by June, I mean, 420 positive incidents that Atlas Security responded to is an incredibly high number. But you take it back even further of where this development started is going back to pre-lockdown. And you break it down to a weekly comparison, is that we were reporting on 35 to 45 incidents a week. And once it hit the 50 mark, it was all hands on deck. It was panic stations. We really had to put all the operations down on the floor. And it's how it's progressed now is that anything under 100 a week is seen as a success.
100 a week? Incidences and alerts that you receive from houses as well as individuals.
That's correct. So, I mean, if you look at the first week of July, we responded to 118 positive incidents, and it's all broken down by mostly break-ins and positive thefts. And a lot of it is people striving, wanting to survive. They're turning to a life of crime because there's unemployment is obviously through the roof. They can't get stable jobs, stable income, so they turn to crime because they have to put food on the table.
Now, when we look at the Nelson Mandela Bay, what crimes, looking at the trends of crime and also the hotspots in the Nelson Mandela Bay?
So it pretty much shifts almost from day to day, from area to area. I mean, at the moment, if you look at Uitenhage Dispatch, you're looking at armed house robberies, and it's a lot more of a violent case down there. You then look at Summer Strand, it's robbery of persons, students are being targeted, tourists are being targeted. So it pretty much sparks and varies across the metro and depends on what modus operandi they're using. It depends. We've got things like the front door kickers who will go and hire a car from a car rental agency, and they go from Uitenhage, they hit different areas, kick the front door, they got a few seconds, TV gone, and so there's very much that it varies in terms of modus operandis and targets.
Now, would you say there is a peak season or not, or it does not matter any time of the week or day, really?
I so badly want to say that there's a peak season, but unfortunately, there is no peak anymore. We need to be all hands on deck all the time at the moment.
All right, so thank you so much, Ryan. Now, Vuyo, we won't just stop there. Now, we need to look at how exactly private companies such as Atlas tackle, this crime, and also responding to those alerts that are issued by homeowners as well as some of their clients. Because we have been talking about the crime in the Nelson Mandela Bay. We've seen crime in hospitals. We've seen crime in schools. Also, gang violence is also one of those that are, part of the contributing factors of crime in the Nelson Mandela Bay. But now let's look at the solution. What now? How does Atlas and other private companies then, bring in their clientele? How do they lure their clientele in so that they can promise them, safety during this time? So that's what we'll be looking at. And through that door is the control room. And I'm talking about a control room here, Vuyo, that is heavily guarded. And I'm told that should this place bomb down, it will be able to work on its own self-sufficiently for 7 days. So that's where we'll be going in. And not just anyone can actually access this, Vuyo. It takes people with their biometric fingerprints and access to get inside this control room here. And that's where we'll be coming to you at 4 p.m. And then, of course, later on at about 6 o'clock, we will be riding along with the armed response unit teams doing patrols on the street to see how exactly they patrol the streets and look out for any, suspicion other than the alerts that they receive via their social medias as well as calls.
Sipha Kema in Gqeberha, where crime has soared over the years. That city, of course, making it to the list of top countries in the world to have high crime rates. Still to come, official